Western Hills, second installation, Appendix B, Warren D. Castor. Another Castor curiosity? During the early 18th century, Heinrich Gerster immigrated from Switzerland to join British colonial America, settling in the state of North Carolina. Heinrich's son Jacob appears to be the first to adapt the family surname to Castor. Jacob fathered Henry Castor Sr., born in 1774. Through Mary Hess, Henry Sr. fathered Henry Castor Jr., who immigrated from North Carolina to the Shady Grove settlement, now known as Irving, Texas. Through this lineage, we ultimately arrive at Martin Elmer Castor. Martin Elmer Castor was father of Benny Joe and Lloyd Castor. See main presentation for their significance as possible Lee Harvey Oswald impersonators. It appears by 1784, Henry Castor remarried to Catherine Correll, fostering another branch of the Castor family tree. By 1916, Warren D. Castor was born. Perhaps trivial, but perhaps significant. By some odd coincidence, 5 generations later, Warren D. Castor had moved from his hometown in New Mexico and began working for Southwestern Publishing, and by the mid to late 1950s, he landed at 411 Elm Street, the Texas School Book Depository. In the Warren Commission report, there was one man who was accused of bringing 2 rifles into the Texas School Book Depository on Wednesday, November 20th, just 2 days before the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It just happens to be Warren D. Castor, half-fifth cousin to Benny Joe and Lloyd Castor. When questioned by the Warren Commission, Mr. Castor stated that one gun was a Remington single-shot .22 rifle and the other was a .30-06 sporterized Mauser. Warren D. Castor stated that he had purchased them during the noon hour that day while he was on lunch at the local Sanger-Harris Sporting Goods Department. Perhaps, but it appears no receipt was ever requested or provided as evidence. It is important to note that the first officer to discover the stashed weapon on the 6th floor, Seymour Weitzman, recorded it as a 7.65 Mauser. Weitzman had also owned a sporting goods store and knew firearms. Both the 7.65 and the .30-06 rifles are typically built on the same Mauser 98 bolt-action design, which means they share a long wooden stock, turn-down or straight bolt handle, internal 5-round magazine, military-style iron sights, sometimes modified, almost identical receiver shape and bolt profile. Mr. Castor went on to state that they had removed the rifles from the cartons, and even Mr. Truly himself had handled them, and he wasn't sure, but possibly Mr. Shelley as well. Mr. Castor states that he kept the guns in his office until around 4 o'clock, until he took them home, leaving them in their cartons, as he says. It is possible that Mr. Castor left the Mauser inside the book depository and simply carried an empty box out with the other rifle that was a gift for his son. While the possibility of 2 distant family members being related in an organized crime hit is reasonably high, the probability of it being mere coincidence diminishes substantially when we compare certain American surnames. For example, with the help of AI, let's compare the odds that 2 half-fifth cousins would coincidentally be involved in such a monumental crime, comparing the most common names of Smith, Jones, and Williams to Castor. Smith comes in at higher chances of 760 to 1, Jones at 505 to 1, and Williams at 443 to 1. So how is it that such an uncommon surname might beat the odds of potentially having 2 distant members tied into the same crime, the assassination of a first-world president, which itself is not all that historically frequent? What would be the catalyst or difference-maker that would give a glaringly smaller population the competitive advantage, so to speak, to wind up with two distant members, possibly involved, each in their own compartmentalized way. Admittedly, we can only speculate, but a higher incidence of fraternal collaboration might have been the mechanism that ultimately gave such distant members of one particular family that was demonstrably inundated with Freemasonry such peculiar ties to the crime of the 20th century. Was Warren D. Castor also a Freemason? Did he know his distant brothers from another mother, Benny Joe and Lloyd? The Irving Investigative Coalition would love to know.